Hey guys, Back Garden Bushcraft here again with another video for you. So I am back in the little farm wood in Cornwall. Now if you follow my channel for a few years, you'll know that I've come to the same farm every single year without fail since I was a baby. I think the first year I came here I was 1 year old, and I've been coming back with my family every single year. They've got this little ornamental woodland next to a little walled garden, and it's literally the tiniest woodland in the world, but it means a lot to me personally. When I was a little child, I'd come out here and make little deadfall traps, and my dad would sneak out and put my teddies in the traps, so I thought I'd caught an animal during the night. So that was when I was about 6, and so this woodland is full of memories for me, and every year I bring a tarp, I set up, and I just use this as my little base when I go out and do hikes and explore Cornwall and explore the coastline. So it means an awful lot to me, and it's a very special place for me, and I love coming back here every year. So I thought I'd film a little video of me setting up a camp. I've got something pretty cool to show you. If you've been to any forest schools or any bushcraft sort of lessons, you've probably seen demos of this stuff, but it's quite fun. So I thought I'd bring it with me to Cornwall, show you guys, and just bring you along, have a little coffee, and make a fun little video for you. Alright guys, I'm going to set a tarp up. One cool thing about being on a farm is you will hear cows and sheep and all sorts of animals in the background. This is a working farm. Tractors drive down this lane. This is an old wall here, and there's a little lane, and tractors always drive down there. I've got fields behind where I've set up the camera. I've got fields back that way towards the farmhouse, and there's a cow shed about 500 meters that way. There's a lot of cool noises, and I'm actually going to be camping. I brought a tent with me, so just me and Emma are going to pitch up in a tent just at the top of the woodland between the gate and the walled garden, just so that we can have a bit of outdoor space, and we're actually going to spend the nights out there, just get a bit of fresh air and change it up from being in a bed all the time. So if you hear any sort of weird groaning noises, it's not my tummy, it's cows. So as I'm not camping under this, I have spent many nights under this tarp actually, and some in really bad weather, but I really just use this as an emergency tarp, or if I have a bivvy bag. But yeah, this is my smallest tarp that I actually own. This is the Alp kit. I can't remember the name of it. It's like the 1.5 or something. It's the smallest tarp Alp kit do. It's ultra light, it's very strong, and I do like it, but yeah, it's pretty mini, so perfect just to get a little awning over my head and stop any rain that comes in when I'm out here chilling, reading, enjoying my pipe, whatever it is I might be doing. So yeah, perfect for chucking in a small backpack and just carrying with you. So there are a lot of different ways of lighting a fire. You've got percussion, you've got friction, you've got chemical, you've got electrical. And on this channel I tend to use a fire steel or friction fire like hand drill or bow drill. I like traditional flint and steel, lots of different methods. But what I've never shown on this channel is this. Now this is a little chemical that has multiple uses, and it can actually be a little bit dangerous, so you have to be careful and respect it. But what I have in this little vial, told you there are cows about, what I have in this little vial is a crystal, okay, called Potassium Permanganate. Okay, the chemical symbol for this is KMN04, and this is a very strong oxidizer, which means it can have some pretty serious chemical reactions. It can burn skin. Okay, if I was to be stupid and ingest all of this, it could be fatal, it could be lethal. So I have to be very respectful of this little vial of potassium permanganate. But it does have a number of uses which have been well documented for emergency situations. Now, military survival kits used to contain a little vial of this, and that's because it is so versatile. So let me tell you about a couple of the uses before we get onto the use that I have it for. Now, in water purification plants and things, there is some discussion about the use of potassium permanganate, KMN04. I don't use it personally for water purification. There are lots of videos online which teaches you how you can use this to purify water, but there is a margin for error, and in my opinion, if you can get a fire going, you won't have need of this for water purification. But it's another tool in the toolbox if you do your own research and work out how to use this safely in water to purify it, because the oxidization that this causes, the reaction, it's an antibacterial, okay, and so it can kill bacteria that exists in water. So you can technically sterilize your water with it, but I prefer to boil it. I think it's more foolproof. You don't have to worry about quantities and dosage, and there are a lot more surefire and safer ways to get water safe to drink. So some people use it for water purification. I wouldn't recommend it. If you decide to go that route, please do your own research. The NHS website specifically says do not ingest this stuff, so I'm not going to recommend anyone do anything that involves them having this inside them. So there are some other uses for it. You can dilute this into some water, okay, and if you get the quantity right, it should turn the water a sort of pinky purple, and you can actually use it for treatment of wounds. I've said it has antibacterial properties, and that is very true. What it can be used for then is to sterilize wounds and help healing. It's particularly good at antifungal. I've got a lot of friends, I talked to some of my friends about this, who have used this for antifungal properties. Okay, and there is precedent for it to be used externally on the body to help healing and to prevent infection. So very useful sort of thing to have in a first aid kit if you do your research and you learn how to use it. But that's not why I have it. I have it for its very cool reaction where it oxidizes mixed with sugar or glycerin and causes spontaneous combustion. Just those two words, spontaneous combustion, immediately makes me excited, and I'm going to show you why. Now, just to keep you all hanging just for a little bit longer, I was talking to my friend Wilderness Nomad, great channel, I'll pop his link down in the description, about this, and he has used it in snowy conditions to practice signalling. So because it makes such a vivid purple that's so unnatural, you can actually use it to make sort of messages that would stand out from the air. I'm sure there are millions of other uses, so if you guys know anything about this and you want to help everybody out and drop some other uses for potassium permanganate, KMN04, please drop them a comment below and let us know. There are other uses for it, so we'll just stick with these main ones, but for me, I carry this as a little addition to my fire kit and I'll show you why. Because if you mix potassium permanganate with sugar or glycerin or anything containing glycerin, you get a very sort of explosive reaction. It's not explosive, but it's a rapid oxidization. It's an exothermic reaction, meaning it gives out serious heat, and it's great for lighting a fire, basically. So let's have a go at this, light a fire with it, cook myself some coffee, and as I said earlier, my opinion, the surefire way of making water safe is to filter it with a millbank bag and then boil it with a rolling boil. So what I'm going to do is use this to light my fire, get my water to a rolling boil. That way I purify my water without having to ingest any of the chemical. So I'm just going to use my Stony Path knife here. It's razor sharp. It's carving through this cedar beautifully. I'm going to use this just to generate a pile of shavings. You can see it's making nice curls. I'm increasing the surface area, and what I want is a big pile of this so that it will extend the flame and allow it to catch the pencil lead size pieces of kindling on fire, and I can then progress through the gears of my fire lay and get a rolling boil of my water pretty quickly. So you can see in not much time at all, already got a nice big handful. I'm going to do this for 5 minutes, and I should have a big bundle, more than I need, and then I'll be able to get my fire on. Okay, everything for my experiment is set up. I've got a load of wood shavings that I've made and filled the bottom of my bush box up. I got my potassium permanganate. I'm going to put that on a leaf and carefully put it into my bush box. I've got my kindling and I'm ready to go. I feel like one of those wacky science teachers. There's something about doing science experiments that cause fire that's just fun. So as I said earlier, this is going to cause an exothermic reaction. It's quite a volatile one. It's going to be sort of eyebrows singed off if you're not expecting this to actually burn. It does spontaneously combust when it reacts with glycerin or sugar. As I mentioned Nomad earlier, Wilderness Nomad Chris, he prefers brown sugar for this experiment. I'm actually going to be using glycerin, and I'll talk about why that is shortly. Let's get started. So what I'm going to do is dish out a bit of the potassium permanganate onto the leaf and carefully lift it in, and then drizzle on some glycerin. Okay, so I'm going to add a pile of KMN04, potassium permanganate, to a leaf. Okay, not too much. Okay, so I have my little pile of potassium permanganate. I'm going to add a little drop of glycerin to start the reaction. I'm going to stir it round, and then I'm going to drop it into my fire pit, and then hopefully get some kindling on top of that pronto as quick as I can. Try and not drop all the glycerin on the floor. Might put a tad more on there just because it's all fallen off the leaf. Oh, it's going already, so cancel that. Let's pop it in here. There you go. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time for the glycerin to actually ignite, but as you can see, it's spontaneously combusting. So once I see the flame, there you go, I'm going to pop on some of that for it to burn, and you can see how cool that reaction is. Burns with like a purple flame. So now we just got to hope it catches something else. I'm going to hold these over. It's pretty cool. You can see the reaction's still going on. Another little side bit is just where it mixed, where it fell off, it's just popped. But yeah, you have to be prepared with this because it is a very short time that the flame actually exists. So you need to be ready with your kindling. You need to have that sort of flammable base, have a bit of shavings or something flammable to put on the flame. Otherwise you are going to lose it. So there we have it, guys. I have just managed to get my fire sustained. I'm going to get my kettle on and boil some water. And then while that's doing that, we're going to do one more fire with the glycerin and potassium permanganate so I can get a nice close-up of the reaction for you. I've been playing around with this. I've tried doing it with loads of glycerin and it really delays the reaction if it's sort of a liquid. So what I found best is just a little drop of the glycerin to make a sort of really thick paste. Then it starts to bubble and fizz, and then you get the white smoke and the purple flames a bit quicker than if you were to make it really liquidy with the glycerin. So experiment for yourself, see what works for you, but I think the key thing with this is it's such a flash fire. It's only burning for a few seconds, so you really do need to be prepared and have shavings or birch bark or grasses or ferns to put on top of that initial flame, because it really will only burn for about a few seconds with a small pile like that. So my takeaway is don't rely on this. I would much prefer to have a fire steel, but it is another tool to have. It's another skill, it's another bit of knowledge. So definitely try it out because it's very cool. If you've got kids, show your kids this. It's pretty damn cool. Just be careful because it is a dangerous chemical if used incorrectly. And it's a strong oxidizer, so it can cause skin irritation and burns. And as you saw, it looks like it's not going to burn, and then all of a sudden it just bursts into flames. So I could see it being very dangerous in sort of in the wrong hands. So yeah, be careful with it, but do try it out. It's a very fun method of lighting a fire. Right, I need a cup of coffee and a pipe, and I want to get a close-up of that reaction to show you guys. So yeah, my favourite way of getting water safe is if I was getting this from a stream, I would coarse filter it with a millbank bag, and then I would chuck it in my kettle over a fire and boil it. Once I got a rolling boil, I'm pretty confident that everything living in it has been killed. It's not going to get rid of things like heavy metals, but it's going to get rid of most of the nasties and make that water pretty safe to drink. So boiling is the foolproof method and is how I would recommend people get water that's safe to drink. This is already tap water because I'm on a farm and there's taps. So all I need to do is mix it with coffee, and then I have the God's drink for my body to enjoy. Now, because this is so much fun and so cool, and I have about 30 grams of this stuff in my various kits, why not show you again and get a bit closer. So I've just got this Kendal mint cake tin that's destined to become a char tin. So I'm going to use this just to get it off the ground. I've swept everything back, so we're down to bare earth anyway. I'm going to make a little pile on here so you can see what's actually happening. I've still got half a vial left, and I've lit about 4 fires with this now. There's a lot there really, probably don't even need that much, but it makes a good little demonstration to have a decent amount for you to see. So there's my KMN04, my potassium permanganate. Let's add some glycerin and watch the fireworks. Now it's interesting, it sort of makes like a solid afterwards. So I'm not a scientist, I don't know really anything about it other than that it's an exothermic reaction because it releases heat and it's spontaneous combustion. But that is definitely an irreversible change there, because that is now a solid. And yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think it's really cool. So I'm going to do it once more because I'm now a big kid, and I keep saying it's the last time, but I just love seeing it burst into flames. That time took a little bit longer. It took about a minute for it to actually go, and I put a bit more glycerin on than I meant to, because it's quite easy to drop out quite a large glob out of that bottle. But yeah, I'm going to dispose of this. We're going to have one last go, film it in slow motion, because why not? Then my coffee will be ready. Consumer advice is get a fire steel, but it is great fun, and I am just going to carry it for the fun of it. I do think it is a multi-use item, so if you had it in your first aid kit for making solutions for treating wounds, you might as well carry something with glycerin in it, and then you've got multi-use items. So I don't think it's a complete waste of time. I don't think it's a complete gimmick. I do think it's a bit showy-offy and just a bit of fun. And a fire steel will get the job done a lot quicker and a lot more reliably, but I love having all of these skills and knowing as many different ways of lighting fires as possible. So try it out, let me know what you think. Remember, do your own research. This is a chemical, chemicals are dangerous. I know there was a warning put out by the NHS in 2014 about this chemical because people were making solutions for their wounds and ingesting it and getting themselves in all sorts of trouble. So make sure you do read around, use multiple sources, and if you're going to use it for other things, just make sure you do your research and learn the hazards and the dangers and the warnings. But yeah, don't blow up your house, it's good fun. Use it for lighting fires in the woods. Right, coffee time, it's all ready, and yeah, I think a pipe and a coffee. I'm going to look out over the fields. I'm going to probably wander down, have a look at the cows once I've had my coffee, and just enjoy the sun setting, because from this cottage I can actually walk down to the beach. Okay, so from this farm, the farmhouse is just a walk up that way, and if I walk that way down the lane I can actually get to the sea. So I might decide to do that later. I'm going to cook some burgers on the bigger barbecue nearer the house later, but I won't film that today because I've got another cool thing I want to show you this week. I don't want to bore you with showing you too much cooking and of me doing things around the farm. So anyway, I hope you've enjoyed seeing this, and hopefully you'll stick with me while I have my coffee and my pipe. But yeah, KMN04, pretty cool bit of kit, pretty cool chemical. Pretty amazing reactions. I'm looking forward to showing some people this when I do some bushcraft coaching. I'm actually going to be running a bushcraft club at my new school, so this is one that I'm going to have to risk assess the heck out of because of obviously being chemicals and things like that, but it'll be worth it just to see sort of the kids' reactions to the chemical just going and burning. So anyway, coffee time. So as I said earlier, the most safe way of making water drinkable is to rolling boil. Get the water to 100 degrees and get it boiling. You'll see the water sort of turning over and bubbling in frustration. You know then it's killed all the bacteria. You're pretty much good to go. I'll link a really good link to Paul Kirtley's website where he talks about water purification. When I do courses and stuff, we always use stream water and we just make sure we boil it and we coarse filter it first to get any big particles out. But yeah, boiling is your safe bet. So My coffee is now boiled, so I'm going to take this off, have myself a coffee and a pipe, and enjoy just sitting here in the farm woods and having a bit of peace and quiet in the countryside. Alright there everyone, so I'm just on my second cup of coffee now, just enjoying slowly seeing the sun go down, and I think it's about time I go and cook dinner for the family on the barbecue. So I hope you've enjoyed seeing my little learning and playing around session in the woods. It's what it's all about, trying out new things. I mean, I've never had potassium permanganate before of my own. I've used other people's, so I knew the concept, I knew how it worked, but I've been doing a lot of research about it and finally got my hands on some last week. It's actually quite easy to get online, but yeah, really fun one, definitely worth a try, as long as you're aware that it does have potential for causing harm. So yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed this, and I'll be back soon with another video. This one was a good one, I really enjoyed it. I just love learning, and I love playing around with things and seeing what works and what doesn't. And yeah, off camera I've lit like 6 others, just trying out different ratios and things just because I want to learn. So always have an inquisitive mind, always try and better your skills. No one's an expert and you can always get better. So that's my goal for the holiday, is to enjoy relaxing and practice a few skills that I don't get a chance to all the time when I'm working. So enjoy the summer holidays while I can. Alright guys, thanks for joining me, and see you guys in the next one. Cheers!